All right, here we are for round number 2. Oh, I better fix that record because you guys know that I'm terrible at the record. We're on the play here, playing against Crushing You Every Time or something. I think that's the name, Crushing You Every Time. Yes, I would like to play first. Our hand looks great. I'll keep it. So here's a little trick to remember. It looks like I have no untapped lands in my hand, but if I lead off with this Evolving Wilds, I can have an untapped land on turn 3 after I pick something up with my Aqueduct. So I guess I'll take another red source, so I have double red. So I think I'm gonna Boilerworks here. No, I'm gonna Aqueduct. Yeah, so if I Aqueduct here, that way I can have Terminate up next turn if I want it. I don't expect to need that against another Grixis deck, but you never know. So let's go ahead, and I think I'm going to play out just my basic here. I don't think my life total is going to matter, but I do want to exclude any 3-drops they might have. And if they don't play a 3-drop, then I'll just get an island with my Ash Barrens. Ooh, Curse of the Bloody Tome. That's annoying. So we could actually lose to that, unfortunately, since I don't have a counterspell in my starting hand, and they had their 1 curse on turn 1. I have, or on turn 3. I have beaten this card plenty, and we could probably very easily beat it, but it's going to be tough. I need to be able to resolve a capsize on it. So my opponent... Yeah, let's see. My opponent has a lot more cards than us when you take into account the fact that I'm getting milled a couple every turn. So what I need is for my teachings to get milled, and then I can go and grab a capsize with it. And then I have more counterspells in my deck than my opponent, so I can eventually fill my hand with all my counterspells. But if they hit my capsize, then I can't get this off the table. Alright, 2 counterspells is good. There's no way I'm going to be able to kill them with damage or anything like that, so I'm not even going to try to do that. I'm going to pick up this mountain. I'm going to discard just all removal. So I'm going to get rid of my Flame Slash and Edict. I think Terminate is a better card, so... yeah, so we're just going to chill here and hope that we mill a, what's it called? And hope that we mill a Teachings before we mill our capsize. We also hope that our opponent keeps missing land drops, because that's how we're actually going to be able to win. Is by just by getting more mana than them. Yeah, I can't counter a Brainstorm or anything. So I'd like to have probably the capsize plus at least 5 counterspells by the time I try to capsize them. Ooh, that's interesting. Well, I'll exclude that guy. And I'd be perfectly happy if they spend one of their precious counterspells protecting this Augur. This is why I don't put Augur Bolas in my big decks, even though it's very good against Stompy and stuff. This exact scenario right here. My opponent's in a bad spot now. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I don't actually care about this Augur. But they've lost 1 counterspell. So they have 3 counterspells left, probably a Prohibit, and that might be it. Lightning Bolt is a dead card. Not even going to leave it out there. They get a Brainstorm, sure. Then I'm going to terminate this Augur. Not that it's a spell that matters at all, but I might as well. Just get that out of my hand. So I'll probably Whispers with buyback here on my turn. There's another exclude. I guess I should probably keep up Counterspell. Innocent Blood is pretty bad draw. So we're basically just, again, we're sitting here hoping that we don't get our Capsize in the graveyard. I don't have any other outs to this, and there's basically no way that I'm going to be able to Evan-Card Justice my opponent to death, especially since I lost 2 of them already. I only have 1 left, and I lost Pristine Talisman as well. Okay, they've got to think twice. And Dismal Backwater. Still haven't hit a single flashback spell besides this Firebolt. But luckily, I'm... Alright. So luckily I have this Whispers and stuff. So I keep hitting my land drops, and my opponent has missed a couple. Because right now they can only cast 1, 2... They can only cast a couple. Another Curse. They may just have to counter that, and it's not going to work, unfortunately. Okay. 2 Curse of the Bloody Tome in their deck. Huh. Obviously it's great against us. But I don't think it's a particularly good idea. So I'm going to brainstorm now, I guess. Pieces of the puzzle is not good. Gonna get rid of 2 Magma Sprays, shuffle. Grab an island. Gonna brainstorm again. Put these 2 on top probably. And then I'll just leave them. Those are going to be the cards that are milled with the first Curse of the Bloody Tome. So it's not really going to matter. Like once I get to cap slot, oh, I don't really want to. No, I don't want to draw those cards. So no reason to Whispers. Somehow there's still no teachings in our top 50 cards. We're also getting to the point where if I don't draw one soon, I'm going to be behind my opponent on mana anyway. I'm going to be behind my opponent on cards in deck. So I think I saw this list. Someone was asking me for advice on it, so that might be who this is. And I am getting owned by this Curse. I don't think we're going to be able to really lose this matchup post-board because I'll have Pyroblasts. So I think we'll very easily defeat this deck in the sideboarded games. But for now, it's not going great. Still no teachings. So I'm actually going to turn off the auto yield. So I'm going to have the first one go. So when this happens, I can teachings out my Capsize here. So I can't get milled. All right, so I've got a bunch more counter spells that I can draw. I just had to make sure that didn't get milled. Otherwise I just can't win. So let's get that Talisman out. I'm going to discard the Innocent Blood. All right. Hopefully we can hit another teachings and not lose too many more counter spells. Lost our Prohibit. Okay, we drew another teachings. Got another teaching, so that's good. I'm actually going to have to kill my opponent with damage, it looks like. Which is possible, but I'm going to have to Capsize lock them anyway. All right. Teachings. I'm going to teachings for teachings here, I think, and grab both my counter spells out. So unfortunately I lost the Prohibit. Alright, grab another counterspell. And in my upkeep, I'm gonna Teachings from the graveyard to grab my Dispel. It's Teachings for Teachings. Teachings out my Dispel. Did I lose my other Evancar Justice yet? It looks like I already lost the third Evancar Justice and I didn't notice. So it looks like I lose. Yeah, it looks like I already lost actually. Yep. So we lost this game and I'm behind on time, so I'll just concede here. Alright. This should be a pretty easy matchup. Sideboard though. So I've got the Pyroblast, the Dispels, and the Duresses. I just have way more interaction than they do. Gonna take out all my removal pretty much. Don't want the Sandstorms, don't want the Crypt Incursion, don't want Echoing Decay, Electrickery, Firebolt, don't want the Magma Sprays, and I guess that's what I have to leave in. Oh, never mind, they also are Grixis, so I'll bring in the 4 Hydroblasts as well. Take out the Magma Sprays. Flame Slashes. I can still kill them with Evancar Justice, so maybe I want to leave those in over some of this other bad stuff. Take out an Edict. Alright. So this should be good. So the problem with main deck is that the curse comes down, and if I can't counter it or capsize it in time, I just have no answers to it at all. I didn't really expect them to have 2 curses in their deck, which is why I tapped so low on my Whispers in the Muse earlier. Alright, hand looks pretty decent, I guess. We've got a lot of mana, which is really what matters in this matchup. That's me. Well, that's cool. So we got a fan. Yeah, Grixis is great. I'm not sure that I like the double curse, but if this is a person I was talking to before, they just had a different game plan. My opponent's wondering why I am playing 100 cards. So I don't have to play any win conditions. So Teachings is a pretty good draw. Bajuka Bog is kind of a nice land. I'll probably play the Swamp this turn. Don't care about Brainstorm, although it's possible Pyroblasting that could just like destroy my opponent completely. All right. Yeah, I'd like to hold up Exclude here. Also, I want to Bajuka Bog as much away from their graveyard as possible. Maybe they stick a Think Twice in there or something. Fortunately, I've drawn a number of creature answers. My opponent is probably playing 0 creatures post board. At least I would have taken out the Augurs for sure. If I get lucky, this will just be an Augur and I get to exclude it. Nope, not the case. They do have to discard here, which I suppose is nice for me. Are they just going to bolt me? Sure. Man, talk about a spell I don't care about. Lightning Bolt is an example of that, for sure. Yeah, unfortunately there's nothing I can do about this. My draw hasn't lined up very well with theirs, so when my opponent just drops a curse here, I'm not going to have an answer. So pretty fortunate by my opponent. Pretty fortunate for them. Pretty unfortunate for me. If I draw an untapped land, I'll be able to take that thing out. Oh man, and double counterspell milled. Yeah, looks like we're gonna lose. Yeah, I think we're gonna lose probably. Losing 2 counterspells is pretty brutal for the deck. So I'm gonna have to grab a Pyroblast and a Dispel probably off of this. And this is kind of the bad part about playing all these cards, is that I have to play so many dead cards in my deck, and they don't have to play as many, because I can't take out all my removal. And my opponent can take out all the removal, unfortunately for me. So I just have to Teachings for a Brainstorm, so I can hit some more land drops. Alright. So I just have to make sure, like, hopefully all my Pyroblasts don't get milled. There goes one. Well, alright, then I don't need to play the Brainstorm quite yet. Yeah, we've been getting pretty unlucky with the mills in this game. Last game we were pretty lucky with them. But this game not so much. We lost all of our best spells right in a row, basically. I lost a Pyroblast, a Prohibit, and 2 counterspells. Alright, opponent has a Teachings. Yeah, I think we're gonna lose to this. Got a little owned game 1 by allowing a second curse to resolve. And just drew the wrong half of my deck. We got 4 dead cards in hand. Ooh, Capsize. Okay. Goodbye, Exclude. They're just gonna tap out for Capsize here? That seems insane. That seems, I don't know, kind of risky. Like, what if I just have a Pyroblast, you know? See if I can find one. I got the Brainstorm. That's not a Pyroblast. So let's put some of this removal and stuff on top. And I drew my untapped land a turn too late, of course. So, yeah, we lose this game as well, it would appear. I don't believe I have any outs. I need to get a mountain so that they can't. Okay, I'm drawing just the wrong stuff. I can't even bog their stuff out of their graveyard. I think I have to discard this boiler. I'll probably discard the Exclude. So the problem is now is when I even like go to Teachings for Pyroblast, it's not going to work. Or the Pyroblast isn't going to work at least. I assume they're going to Capsize me here. Maybe not though, maybe they want to get some of this stuff out of their graveyard before I can bog it away. They are going to lose one of these to my bog. Okay, we lost an Exclude, which is not a card, so that's good. See if my opponent does both. 7 mana is too much. Unfortunately, I can't really use this opportunity to Pyroblast them since these are Hydroblast instead of Dispels. Okay, my opponent's just going to think twice and lose their Teachings then. Alright. Not too much to say about that. Alright, a brainstorm is fine. I do still have some time if they make some mistakes or if I just draw some good cards instead of drawing a bunch of dead cards. And putting all my good ones in the graveyard. Did have a good mill that time though, I didn't want to draw either of these. Luckily I do have an untapped land of each type. So they can't totally capsize me off of everything. Another dead draw. My opponent did have to leave Essence Scatter in their deck, it looks like. I really need to draw my Duresses. Those would be my best draws. Okay, think twice. Even if my opponent taps low, I can't cast his Pyroblast since I can't defend it from even a single spell. I think I'll go ahead and Teachings here for a Dispel. They can capsize me if they want. Alright, let's grab a Dispel. Yeah, so if they capsize one of my lands, it's whatever. They'll be down to 3 mana then, and I might be able to actually take out some of their stuff. There goes a Hydroblast. Which is fine, I didn't really want that card. Talisman gets me another mana in play, so that's a good one to try to do. I'm running out of time a little bit. I've got several more turns before they can do anything about this. I don't think I can afford to pick a fight right now. Don't really want this innocent blood at all. I really need at least one more piece of... Oh, forgot to draw, or forgot to gain a life. That's okay. I'd really like to have one more piece of interaction before I go about countering their stuff. And now I at least have some Hydroblasts up for their Pyroblasts if they have any. Okay, Teachings. Something I was concerned about when I got showed this deck was that it doesn't have a lot of ways to stay alive, like against actual, like the creature decks, like the popular decks of the format. They don't have enough to double capsize me, do they? They're one short, so just gonna tap out for Teachings again, grab another Dispel. They can Dispel me if they want, or they can capsize one land if they want. All right. This is also why I like to play. This is why I like to play Deprive in my. I like to play Deprive in my Teachings decks. Be a great spell to get right here. So I think I have to discard a Boilerworks and a Whispers. Yeah, I think I'd rather keep the Brainstorm. Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure I have all my blue mana up. All right, let's do that. So I still got a couple more turns. I got like 7 more turns before I have to get this curse off the table. But anyway, if I had to Deprive, then I could like if I had to Deprive, then I could Pyroblast this curse. And then when they went to counter my Pyroblast, I would be able to I'd be able to pick up my land with the Deprive to counter the Capsize plus counter the counterspell on the Curse. So like I would get a double counterspell for free. Just go ahead and dispel that. I think we'll pick our fight here. I'll make my stand right now. Hopefully my opponent has to use a Pyroblast at some point in here, so I can use my Hydroblast. Looks like that is not the case. I could try to find another Pyroblast. I think I'll just... I think I'll destroy the curse maybe. I want to do while they're tapped low because they have a Teachings in their graveyard. Yeah, unfortunately, my opponent didn't have any Pyroblasts. I wonder if they even have any. I need to find a Pyroblast off this Brainstorm, otherwise I'm going to lose the game. Yeah, this is over, unfortunately. Let's put those both on top. Man, I can't believe I lost to this deck. But I have too many dead cards, and they don't have nearly as many dead cards as I do. And that's my punishment for playing this deck with too many cards in it. Alright, do I still have a Teachings in my graveyard? No. A little surprised they didn't have any Pyroblasts yet. Yeah, I think I would have won this game if I had Deprive in my deck anywhere. But I didn't do that this time, so that's that. Gonna keep playing it for a little while. I have one Pyroblast left for this. I think this is gone. Yeah, look away. I have nothing, so not worried about you. Not worried about you taking my Hydroblast, I guess, or a Flame Slash. Might as well take the Hydroblast. All right, here we go. Our path to victory right here. It's gonna play a land here. I'll probably think twice in response to their Capsize. Tapped all their black mana, so now they can't flashback Teachings, but it doesn't matter. All right, let's just think twice. Okay, well, now they can double Capsize me. Double Capsize me to death. Sitting here, getting owned. Passing the turn. So my opponent should Capsize my island here. Nope, that's the wrong land. That's the wrong land, opponent. The island. No, the island. Well, I didn't punish them. But you should always do the islands, not just necessarily the tapped lands, because the blue sources are all that matter. I mean, I guess I'll counter that. The card should probably not still be in the deck if they have anything else. I'm kind of starting to think my opponent doesn't have any Pyroblasts. Wonder if that's just like a budget concern or something. Makes my Hydroblast look real stupid though. Alright, well, I'll at least pretend I have something. There is my Dispel. More garbage. Can't draw Duress, can't draw basically anything that's good. They should start with the Swiftwater Cliffs probably. Okay, now they're doing the islands. Alright. I think I lose now. Yep, you guys are all seeing why you never cut Deprive. You should always have a Deprive in your teachings deck. If basically any spell in my deck had been a Deprive, I would have probably won this game. My opponent thinks he has a very good build. That could be the case. I'm not a big fan of like anglers and curses and stuff, but you could it could be just fine. So I think I have one Dispel left and one Pyroblast left. There goes the Pyroblast, so now I can't win anymore. I gotta discard my Justice. Yeah, I don't think I can possibly win. Oh yeah, give me that life. Yep. I should have tapped it so I could brainstorm here. Alright. I'm going to play my Pristine Talisman. How are you going to deal with that? Or we can just concede here. I lost to the Grixis Mirror. They don't, like I said, they don't have as many dead cards as I do because I'm playing so many, and that gives us a real disadvantage against these decks that have like multiple win conditions. If my opponent had only one curse, or if I was able to counter it, we would have won the game. Like if I had a counterspell for this curse, we would have probably won the game on the third turn of the first game, but instead, since I didn't, I lost the game on that turn. And that's the advantage of playing a deck that has like kind of awkward win conditions, which is why I like playing our deck, is that people can't necessarily interact with your win condition, and I had no way to interact with the curse in game one, and I didn't draw very well in game two, and our opponent drew well in game two, and they should draw better than us, probably. But we do have a pretty big advantage over them by having so many more cards. I have a lot more time, and I have a lot more good cards in my deck. So like I have more counterspells and Pyroblasts and Prohibits like to have access to in my deck. Because a lot of times it comes down to just who has enough stuff left to do. And a lot of times your teaching stops getting you good cards. It stops getting you dispels and counterspells and stuff. It can only get you like removal and stuff that's bad. So I'm guessing my opponent didn't have Pyroblast, otherwise they should have definitely taken out all the creatures for the Pyroblast, and I didn't see any Pyroblast the whole game. So I guess it was bad for me to bring in the Hydroblast, but it is what it is. So we are 1-1. Let's move on to the next round.